impression that there is no benefit available to me who have paid off the tax. Whether there will be any refund is $1 million question, but unfortunately I don't think that they will be entitled to any refunds, etc., because whatever is gone is gone. The chances of getting refund are very minimal, unless and until once again there is a representation prevailing upon those ministers, and thereafter some GR, etc., being issued to that effect. And then comes amendment to section schedule C. After entry 55, they have introduced entry 55 capital A and 55 capital B. We all are aware that very recently Commissioner had issued circular explaining the decision in the case of Bansal Wire Industries coming from Supreme Court, and trying to say that certain sub-entries after sub-entry 10 will not be eligible for that particular 5% benefit, and he had categorically stated that particular stainless steel wires, etc., will now be taxed at 12.5%. Thereafter, there was lots of confusion in the market as to whether all these commodities will translate to 12.5% or not. In fact, in that circular also there was a mention that we have approached Mantralaya to referring to that 1973 DDQ, whether that will continue its application, whether it will continue up to Supreme Court decision or not. But putting end to it, what they have done, they have amended this particular 55 capital A and 55 capital B for the period from 1st of April 2005 to 30th of April 2011. So everything sold during that particular period, even if according to Supreme Court judgment it was to be treated at 12.5%, now it will continue to be taxed at 4%, and thereafter, because the rate was changed from 4% to 5%, they have tried to put it in sub-entry B. That entry reads tool, alloys and specialties of any of the categories specified in clauses 10 to clause 15 of entry 55 sold on or after 1st May 2011, the levy of tax will be at 5%. Friends, I think the brief given to me is over for dealing with the amendments to MVAT Act. But then I think President will permit me to speak something about border checkpost rules. If you refer to section 16(7) subsection 1, you will find that section talks about a notification to be issued for creation of border checkposts, etc. And in fact, in budget speech, there was a reference that these border posts were operational. So when my friend Janak Bhai and we were talking, we were always wondering as to notification nahi aaya, lekin why the minister is talking about the checkpost being operational, etc. So that lot on 7th of July 2014, along with these amendment part, they have also uploaded border checkpost draft rules, and it combines two notifications. The first notification is dated 23rd of May 2014. It says that with effect from 25th of July 2014, there will be 32 border checkposts which will be made operational. And if you are interested in statistics, they have identified 5 checkposts to Gujarat border, 8 to MP border, 5 to Karnataka, 4 to Andhra Pradesh, 1 to Goa and 1 to Chhattisgarh. That totals out to 24. Then I wonder from where this 32 comes. 8 checkposts, I am still not in a position to reconcile, but you will find are pertaining to Mumbai Port Trust, Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, Mulund, Kolar, Sahar Cargo, Jogeshwari, Nagpur Air Cargo and Kalamboli. So maybe they are having connection with the import-export databases from where the goods are going out of India or where the goods are coming into the India. Those databases they have identified. But these 8 checkposts are not actually border checkposts, but still they are going to be the checkposts I have got my apprehensions about their working when we talk about Jogeshwari, Mulund or Kalamboli, how they will be put into the position. Because if my truck is moving from Vadala to Borivali, and if there is an intervention at checkpost and if they insist that we want to see documents, etc., how they will make it operational for these internal areas, nothing is clear, but still these 32 checkposts will be operational for 25th of July 2014. Simultaneously, they have issued a notification dated 23rd of June 2014 giving you draft rules and inviting your suggestions and objections regarding those draft rules pertaining to border checkposts, and it has been made very clear that on receipt of these particular suggestions and objections, etc., the final rules will be made public or gazetted. So I think we as an association will always be taking call that where and when these particular rules are falling short or whether they need improvement, we will always be suggesting to them. Here they have added certain definitions. First definition they have added to rules is of claimant, and it plainly defines person who receives the goods on behalf of consignee. Nothing more, nothing less. The person who receives the goods on behalf of consignee, whoever it may be, will be construed to be the claimant of goods. Then they have defined e-way bill, a document to be uploaded electronically by a consignor, claimant or transporter, giving details regarding consignment of goods and includes any other details prescribed in the forms. A very simple definition of e-way bill, but not so simple when you actually look to the format which they have prescribed, but you will have to live with it. Then they have also tried to define person in the charge of vehicle shall include owner or driver of a goods vehicle. Transporter shall include owner of the vehicle, manager, agent, employee or owner of goods vehicle, a person in charge of a place of loading or unloading of goods, or in charge of goods carrier carrying for dispatch to the other places, or who gives delivery of any consignment to the consignee. So a very wide, very inclusive definition. When you are trying to say transporter means owner of the vehicle, I can understand. Driver of the vehicle I can understand, but they are trying to rope in even the person who is in charge of a place of loading or unloading of goods. That means if they are being downloaded at particular godown, even that particular person can also be roped in as a transporter. Or in fact it says that the person who gives delivery of any consignment of the goods to the consigning shall also be construed to be a transporter. So very wide definition has been provided. Sub-rule 91 to 94 have been provided under these particular rules. This is going to be addition to existing MVAT rules. Of that, rule 91 says or talks about enrollment on the website. It says every dealer shall transport any consignment of goods in the state or outside the state in the manner as laid down in rules 92, 93 and 94. So the basic rule which casts that responsibility of generating e-way bill is this: it is applicable only for the consignments of the goods in the state or outside the state. So these two aspects, import into the state or export or movement out of the state, are only covered in this particular e-way bill. It says that consignor, consignee, claimant or transporter, if he is registered dealer under the MVAT Act, he will continue to use his user ID and password which is generated for this particular website. But if he is not registered dealer under MVAT Act, he will have to log in to a website which they have specifically created, that is www.mahabcp.in, and he will have to get himself registered for the purpose of this generation of e-way bill, etc. So that responsibility is now cast specially on the dealers who are not registered. And when I am talking about dealers, I should say persons, because even the transporters, etc. also will have to get themselves registered for the purpose of this particular thing. When I read about this particular website, that is mahabcp.in, just out of curiosity I tried to log into that website as to find out what's what on that website, whether it's operational or not. It's operational, it's very swanky, it gives a feeling as if I have landed in America or some other country other than India, wherein all these things are going to happen. Only thing is that there is no coordination, I think, between this particular website and the department's policies, because the website as on today speaks of 22 modernized, computerized, integrated border checkposts. So they are still lagging behind. There the 22 identifications are there, and in fact these 22 they have bifurcated in major checkposts, big checkposts, medium checkposts and small checkposts. So you can understand how from department the people will be after for obtaining that particular post when the transfers are due. Further, that website says these border checkposts shall have the combined facilities for clearing, checking of commercial traffic at any of the checkposts by following departments. And there are 3 departments going to work in coordination: Department of Transport, Department of Sales Tax and Department of Excise. It also gives a list of certain amenities which are made available to the dealers or the transporters of vehicles, and services which they intend to give you are booths, rest houses, dead storage, off-shift recreation space, impounded material storage, general store, toilets and canteen. And facilities they are talking about are dhaba, mechanic shop, auto spares, petrol diesel pump, medical shops, retiring dormitories, STD, PCO, pan shop, cassette shop, and most important, bank extension counter with ATM. Because ultimately most of the cases will require this particular operation. पहले वाले नहीं रहेंगे तो भी एक बार चल जाएगा, लेकिन लास्ट वाला तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. Sub-rule 92, it talks about uploading of e-way bill and movement of the goods, and these very specifically mentions that consignor, consignee or the claimant situated within the state dispatches the goods outside the state or receives the goods from outside the state shall upload e-way bill in electronic form before entry of the goods into the state or exit out of the state. So the responsibility is now cast that you will have to compulsorily upload e-way bill, then only that particular movement can take place. There are 2 provisos. First proviso says, when an individual dispatches goods outside the state or receives the goods from outside the state for other than business purposes, in such a case, it is not necessary to upload e-way bill. So Kiran Garkar is spared. As an individual, if I am going to call something from Baroda, or if I am going to send something to Baroda, then I need not file e-way bill, because I am individual and I am using it for other than business purposes. But if Kiran Garkar is a registered dealer, is a proprietor of say XYZ company, and if he is going to dispatch, the proviso will not be applicable. He will have to still upload that particular e-way bill. The further proviso says, where an individual purchases the goods from outside the state, the consignor of the goods, who is not an individual, shall upload such e-way bill. So once again, Kiran Garkar as an individual placing order with Baroda, there if Baroda party is a firm or it is not an individual, it will have to fall in line, it will have to upload e-way bill from its side for this particular purpose. That is what the proviso says. It says, as I shared with you, that registered dealer, that is consignor, consignee or claimant, shall use TIN and the password which is generated by him, and other than registered dealers, they will be using PAN, TAN or Aadhaar card unique identification while uploading the e-way bill. So this is once again going a step ahead, that they will have to get registered themselves, and thereafter they will be using either of the 3 as an identification mark for their recognition on the website, that yes, this particular fellow is holding this particular PAN or TAN or Aadhaar card. Then I will cut it short. When you go through this rule 93, what you find is that a consignee or claimant has to upload form 901. They are trying to say it is incoming e-way bill. A consignor dispatching goods outside the state has to upload form 902, that is outgoing e-way bill. Every transporter who enters into a state or departs the state for transporting the goods along with e-way bill prescribed in sub-rule 1, that means transporter has to have 901 or 902 in his hand, shall upload form 903. So a transporter is tasked with the responsibility to carry two e-way bills, 901 and 903, or 902 and 903. The person who uploads every e-way bill under sub-rule 1 shall be responsible for its proper use, and it is non-transferable under any circumstances. So there cannot be any transfer of e-way bill. The responsibility will be cast on the fellow who has uploaded the same. It says that the heading reads transit of goods through the state and uploading of transit pass. So it's a very clear transit of goods through the state and uploading of transit pass, and this is actually going parallel with section 68 heading. Inside the rule you will find it says every transporter of goods who transports goods from any place outside the state to any place outside the state and passes through the state shall upload form 904. So the principally they are very clear. They are looking at a situation that goods have started movement from Karnataka, they are going to pass through Maharashtra, and then they are going to be dispatched to Madhya Pradesh or Gujarat. This situation they have in mind. But if you simultaneously look to form 904, which they have prescribed by way of e-way bill, I was surprised to see that 904 transit pass, it talks about something. It talks, if you refer to 904, that physical format of the challan which is there attached to the draft rules, it reads transit pass for 1. Vehicle passing through Maharashtra. That is the first situation. Second situation, import at Maharashtra port, goods moving out of the state. So that is how those 8 places which they have identified, Nagpur Air Cargo, JNPT, MPT, all are going to be important. And third one, goods entering Maharashtra for the purpose of export from the port of Maharashtra. So 904 rule 93 reads one thing. If you go physically to 904, which they are asking you to key, is something different. I think that requires some amends to the rule itself or to the concept itself, what they are looking at. They will have to come out on this particular aspect of 904. Then we go to rule 94. It says person in charge of a vehicle shall carry with him copy of transport or e-way bill or transit pass along with copy of consignor or consignee e-way bill, and the ball does not stop rolling over there. It further says along with tax invoice, bill of sale, delivery consignment note indicating name of consignor, consignee, description, quantity and value of description of goods, place of dispatch, and retain with him such documents until termination of the movement of the goods. So Bible के जैसा उसको छाती पे रख के जाना है, unless and until he gives delivery of the goods, because he can be intercepted at any moment of time. If officer is satisfied with a reason for not carrying such documents or omissions or defects in these documents,